YouTube. I want to make a video that's actually going to help people for once, instead of just me moaning about my pathetic mental life. I'm going to do a little update first, but it is all in context with the video. So yeah, I've been binging lately a lot. So as you can probably tell, I've gained a lot of weight. I don't know how much, because I haven't been to my nan so I can weigh myself recently, but I was gaining before I started binging. So, you know, I gained a pound last time I weighed myself. I'm not going to give you my weight, but I'm close, or if not at, the heaviest I've been now ever. So I don't know, but yeah, so I have probably, as you can tell, gained quite a bit of weight. It's not good. I'm kind of worried it's never going to stop. Like, my weight won't stabilize, if you get what I mean. Like, I'm kind of worried I've messed up my metabolism forever and I just can't eat normally anymore. Like, I even had to change my t-shirt, like, so I could film a YouTube video, because I felt so fat in the t-shirt I was in, even though this t-shirt doesn't actually make me look any skinnier, but you know, like my arms. Anyway, so this video is about ways to like help you recover, or start off recovering, and ways to like get rid of behaviours. So if you suffer from binging, like if you binge, whether you purge, overexercise, or just don't do anything about it, you know, if you binge, well, with me, where like my biggest binge trigger is baking, I did this today actually, and I've noticed only make things when you need them. Like if you, right, because I binge on buttercream, only make it when you need it and make a small amount, so you're not going to like binge on it as much, if that makes sense. Like, because if you make loads, chances are you're going to binge more, or you're going to get like those urges more because there's loads of it, than if you only binge, like if you only make a bit. Yeah, so okay, it might not be the most icing-full cake, but at least you haven't binged, right? You know, that must account for something. Also, a really important thing with binging is make sure to eat little and often. I mean, I don't mean eat like 6 100-calorie things a day, because you're still going to binge, but like eat enough, eat reasonable amounts, and often, and don't eat completely clean, but eat kind of healthy-ish foods, and not foods that are going to trigger your binges. Like with me, I find, again, cakes and chocolate, well, when it's that time of the month anyway, chocolate triggers my binges, and fudge always triggers my binges, but I managed to overcome that one the other day too. Eventually, I think it got to the point where I'd like binged on so much fudge the day before, I was like, what am I doing with my life? And like, I didn't binge on it. So kind of avoid, don't like completely cut them out and say they're not allowed, but don't, unless you feel comfortable like eating a small amount, or there's only a small amount in the house, don't really have much of those binge foods. And also, unless you're gonna go out to the shop and like make the effort to go out the shop when you have those binge urges, which I know some people with binge eating sort of do, but if you're not going to go to the effort to go to the shop, then just don't keep the food in your house. I know it's hard if you live with a group of people, or like with your family or something, because those foods are probably going to be in the house anyway, and that makes it harder. But don't like buy the food yourself, or have them in the house yourself. What I find with me is, if I keep, or if I like, I don't really like spending my money on food anymore. Like, I used to spend so much money on food, Like, it was just stupid. Like, why can't I eat what everyone else is eating? I don't really want to spend my money on food anymore because it's like wasting my money, and I want to spend my money on other things. But here's an idea: if you don't have anything better to spend your money on, buy like foods, healthy foods, which you don't binge on. Like, if you live in a group of people, buy them yourself and then keep them somewhere, and then they're your foods. So you kind of know where to turn to if you're hungry, instead of going downstairs around all that potential binge food. Do that. So like, my cupboard's pretty empty at the moment. As I said, I'm not spending money on food, but I've just got like some Revita crackers and some agave nectar in there at the moment. It's not really as much as, you know, I've had in there before. Like, I used to have like a ton of Naked bars and things, but I finished them all now, and I'm not going to the shop to buy any more because I'm not wasting my money like on food, because, you know, however much I love Naked bars, I should just be able to eat what my family buy instead of wasting my money on food. But that's how I see it. But it might help if you have like your own collection of your own foods that you're not going to binge on. So don't keep like peanut butter in your little stash because if peanut butter is binge food, because it's just not going to end well. As I found out, like, I kind of bought some peanut butter because I wanted peanut butter. I didn't really think I'd binge on it, because I normally only binge on like things like peanut butter when in Reese's cups or whatever. But yeah, just don't keep binge foods if you're gonna go for that idea. Also, make sure you're eating enough, like not only little and often, but I've noticed with me, if I don't eat enough during the week, I'm more likely to binge at the weekends. So don't like restrict, or I know it's really hard if you restrict, don't like eat too little on the weekdays, because, or like anyone really, because then you're gonna binge more and there's more chance of you binging. Also, think about how you feel after you binge and reflect on that, and reflect on how it doesn't actually feel very nice. You know, write down the emotions, and write down how you feel before you binge, or what triggers the binge, and try and combat the cause of the binge instead of just like the binging itself. Maybe get some help, or just talk to me or anything. Just seek advice if you need anything, like on how to deal with the emotions you get before binging or after binging, and think about that, reflect on that, and do yoga. It calms you down. Do yoga. If you struggle with overexercising, I again would suggest yoga, because it doesn't really burn off many calories, really. I don't think it does. And then, you know, I don't struggle with over yogaing. Yeah, I don't think you can ever over yoga, to be honest. Obviously you could do yoga so much your muscles are killing you, you can barely walk the next day, but I've never done that. But yeah, yoga, because it doesn't burn off many calories, so it's not really going to be very dangerous. Or just make sure you're doing exercise you enjoy. Like with me, I enjoy rock climbing, so I climb. Don't do exercise you don't enjoy. Like, don't just go for like a run because your eating disorder is telling you to. I know it's hard, but just try not to, and kind of cut down slowly. Like, if your eating disorder normally makes you go on like 6-mile runs or whatever, slowly cut it down by like a mile or half a mile or whatever feels comfortable, until you're running a more reasonable distance. I know 6 miles is reasonable for like, fairly reasonable for like elite athletes and people who do cross country and things, and like long distance. You know, I do know people that run that far. But if you're doing it in a way that is overexercising and that you don't enjoy, do cut it down. I'm not saying if you enjoy running, stop, but if you're doing it in a way that could be dangerous and that you don't enjoy, stop. And stop using machines, because they're just completely dangerous. They tell you how many calories you're burning and everything, and it's just, I don't even know how accurate it is. I don't trust machines. I don't really trust food labels either, but I still follow them. But yeah, so just, you know, don't use machines. Like if you enjoy cycling, like if you're addicted to the exercise bike, then get on a bike and go outside and ride a bike. You're going to get a lot more benefit from it. And if you run on the treadmill, then go for a run. And this one might be harder, but like if you use the rowing machine, then go rowing. Again, that is kind of probably harder than just like getting on a bike or going for a run, because I don't know how many people can just go rowing. So yeah, just make sure it's something you enjoy, and don't do much cardio. Like if your heart's under quite a lot of pressure because you're at a low weight, maybe focus more on strength than cardio, because it could be really dangerous. If you restrict and you want to try and stop restricting, like, and if you kind of want to start recovering, say from like anorexia or something, but you're not at a low enough weight for anyone to help you, or even if you are at a low enough weight but you're on a huge waiting list, start small. Like say you only allow yourself like 500 calories a day or 300 calories a day, just increase that by 100 calories until you feel comfortable with a more sensible amount. Like with me, I kind of first said no meal skipping, which in one way it helped, but then my meals kind of ended up being kind of stupid, and they weren't really meals. It was like a slice of toast for breakfast with like a bit of Marmite or oats mixed with water and like half an apple or whatever. Like those oats are simple sachets which are only 100 calories. So I was only having like 135 calories for breakfast at most, and then like an apple for lunch, and then however much of whatever my parents cooked for dinner. But as long as, you know, you're eating something, then just, you know, no meal skipping, and then gradually increase when you feel a bit more confident. I mean, you're not going to be very hungry, I don't think. Like I wasn't when you start recovering, because your stomach shrunk so much. So maybe just, yeah, start small. Also set a minimum calorie intake for the day. Like with me, I started saying I was not to ever have any less than 800 calories. So I started working it up from like 800 up to where I am now, which is like 1,800. That's like my minimum. But I do try to get higher if I'm hungry, but if I'm not hungry, I don't really worry about it too much. But normally I have like 2,000 plus anyway. So yeah. But yeah, set a minimum calorie intake, because that definitely helped me, because it was like, well, I've got to have at least X amount of calories today. And yeah, so that kind of worked. If you purge, I don't purge myself, but I'm going to try and give some advice. Go for a walk. Like, it's not really going to kill you going for a walk. I mean, if you suffer from overexercising, maybe be a bit more careful on this one. Just go for like a short, gentle walk, because it'll calm you down. Don't go for one like to burn off calories, even though that will probably end up being your main reason, but don't overdo it. I know if you don't think you can handle it, don't, but go for a walk. Write down your feelings, talk to someone, like, or anything. Like I have a sketchbook. I don't actually have it on me at the moment, but I just kind of draw in it, and I write poetry quite a lot. That really helps me. I'll give you a link to my poetry folder on DeviantArt if you want. I do write quite a lot of poetry. Most of them now are about like how I'm feeling with my eating disorder and everything, and what I'm going through. And they've always been about, like, they've always been close to me and personal to me. Like, I find it hard to write a poem if it's not personal to me. But recently they have been more about what's been going on in my mind than what's been going on otherwise. So yeah, write poetry, that helps because it just gets it out on paper. Make a video, like, even if you're not planning on publishing it somewhere like YouTube, or like, just write down how you're feeling, say out how you're feeling, just anything. Just do something to distract yourself. Tidy your room. I know mine needs a tidy right now. My shelves have just been fixed, so yeah, I need to put everything back. Do yoga because it calms you down. I say a lot about yoga. Yeah, so just stay strong, and I hope this helped, even though it probably doesn't make much sense and I say a lot. But hopefully this helps, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.